I know, I have to go to my brother's house, so I have to run away. Help me do the work too. Anya, wait. I've reached my limit too. Please wait, Anya. Miss Anya clicked the floor and ran out of the store, and then there was a bang from the ceiling. This sound of footsteps that didn't sound like a cat was followed by another sound that didn't sound like a cat's meow at all. Like, don't come any closer, or don't hug me, or Onie-sama, that's how it sounds. The sound immediately became more and more distant. It was probably two cats chasing each other along the roof. Because of Seer, Anya also completely recovered her vitality. Everything went back to the way it was before. Nothing so good happened, but the tavern is slowly recovering its old daily routine. Mrs. Seer, do you want me to go help? Seeing that she was very busy, I couldn't even smile, so I tried to ask. No, Mr. Bell. I didn't do that. A meeting with Bell. Sir, do you want to spy on me? He was immediately refused by Mississippi Seer. I can't be a good girl. If it weren't for Mr. Bell, I might become a witch who does evil. So you have to watch me work hard, okay? My knight. Miss Seer said so. She laughed happily. Just like a real girl who has nothing to do with the goddess. I must protect that smile. Just like the agreement we made, this is also an agreement that can never be broken. It belongs only to me. Hypocrite of selfish desires. In the tavern, all dyed with the color of a party and still very lively. Unconsciously, Miss Seer and I looked at each other and smiled, as on the day we met. That's right, Mr. Bell. Miss Seer is dark and troubled, much more troubled than everyone, so you can't spoil her. At this moment, the goddess bumped into her side, and I hugged her body tightly in despair. Mr. Seer, please pay attention to me. Mr. Bell is not your stranger. Although this child is easy to deceive, if you still dare to seduce her, be careful with me, again. The goddess Hestia, who clung to me like a child clinging to its mother, did not scream loudly. Judging from calling her Seer so-and-so in person, there is still a lot of malice in it. Her tone is the same of a gangster. Seeing Lady Hestia's smile displaying her victory, even Miss Seer looked angry. My goddess, Miss Seer is also reflecting on this, so you shouldn't say that. Better than bean butter potato balls. This Ms. Seer is basically no different from the most amazing final boss. As long as there is a chance, she will definitely snap her fingers or something, and then the fierce man from before will attack. You will still be kidnapped. Goddess Hestia's powerful speech made me laugh, and at this moment, there was a crack. Miss Seer, who was all smiles, snapped her fingers beautifully. The new dish is here. I kept you waiting for a long time. In the next moment, the giant boar stood in front of us as if it was teleporting. What? Again? How dare you actually launch an attack? What do you mean? A giant man with the appearance of a waiter? Are you kidding me, Mr. Otter? The moment a giant stone-like body appeared in front of me holding a tray, my consciousness sank into darkness as fast as I could. Mainly because of the flashbacks and a fatal shot that hit violently, in addition to the baptism, the infinite Mortal Kombat. What a nightmare. What are you doing, Hestia-sama? Bell-sama rolling her eyes and foaming at the mouth. You have completely become a psychological shadow, in other words, Bell's trauma. After the scream of the goddess Hestia, he seemed to hear the screams of Lily, Mikoto, Welf and Mississippi Haruheim, but I couldn't confirm it when I fell to the ground. Oh, Mr. Bell, this is serious. He's not breathing anymore. I'm going to do artificial respiration here. What? Lord Seer. Never kiss such a dirty thing. This, the worst sin, will be borne by me, the sinner. Horn, don't worry. After all, there is a therapist here. Yes dash. Okay Belle dash, come and kiss me dash. You too, what do you want to do with such indifferent expressions? Mr. Wealth, please burn this witch and her gang to pieces. How is this possible? I convulsed and passed out in disgrace, completely unaware of what happened next. What commotions occurred, what battles occurred, I have no idea. How long are you going to sleep, idiot? When I woke up, a cruel impact hit my cheek hard. After I realized that I was kicked with the toe of someone's shoe, I woke up hard and straightened my upper body abruptly. Then I looked carefully left and right and immediately noticed a pair of eyes looking at me. Teacher. Get up quickly. Don't add to my burden, stupid rabbit. As always, Master made me feel inexplicably calm, and at the same time, I looked around with trepidation. The celebration party is not over yet, Mr. Bors and the others are making an unknown number of toasts. After passing out, a considerable amount of time had probably passed. I was put against the wall, with only the Master. Why would Master, take care of me? Something like that. Because I was judged reserved for you. With the most neutral attitude. Stop causing more trouble, idiot. Neutral. What does that mean? It must be a mistake, it must be cruelty. What are you thinking, man? Then I received another kick and suffered for a long time. At that time, I realized something. The Master's face, as beautiful as a woman's, was covered in wounds. What's going on with these injuries? The Palins, Alan and Hythe did it. I just accepted the punishment. I've been counterattacking since the second move. I was willing to make the first move, but there is no reason why I should also allow subsequent attacks. Probably. If it's the Master. Then the scene got intense and turned into a fight to the death, a savage battle probably. Although they were hidden by the armor, Mr. Alfred and the others also suffered many injuries. So that's what happened. But, yes. Thank you Master. Thank you Master. Mr. Hayden has to step forward even if he doesn't hesitate to arouse family members' hatred and get hurt, so that we can win the war game. Of course, victory involves more than that, but without this person we would have lost and we would not have been able to save him. Master, thank you very much. Thank you for helping us. Don't get me wrong, idiot. I just used you. It's not a help. Still, thank you very much. Still sitting there on the floor, the Master is still there. We leaned against the wall and watched Lady Hestia and the others making noise in the middle of the tavern, as well as Miss Sear who was involved in it. Looking at the man who was still forced to obey unreasonable orders, but with a smile on his face. After all, if it weren't for Master, Mississippi Sear wouldn't have smiled like that. We didn't look at each other, we were both looking at that person, and there was a brief silence. Soon, the Master sneered. Stupid rabbit. Very lightly, really very lightly. It looked to me like an elf was laughing, but I couldn't confirm it as I looked ahead. The Master seemed unable to support me and left the wall he was leaning against. I'll look stupid if I'm with you. I'm leaving. Yes. An oath has been agreed upon, do not violate it. After saying that, the Master shook his long blonde hair and walked towards the kitchen. This painful and difficult battle finally ended in a real sense. I had that feeling. Do you have the wine? Let's hear my majestic scene next. The party between adventurers and gods is not over yet. They had not yet tasted the glow of victory, and, led by Mr. Mord, they still drank wine and laughed loudly. It looks like it will last until morning. I glanced sideways at the adventurers and gods who were still indulging and slowly stood up. At this time, Belle. A cold voice came. I turned around and saw an elf standing there. He was not wearing a tavern uniform, but rather a traveling outfit. Miss Ryu. She must have just returned to the tavern. Her figure made my eyes widen, and then my empty pupils asked softly. May I borrow a moment of your time? Mrs. Ryu, is everything okay? That, over there with the goddess. We left the fertility host, walked a few steps, and arrived at an alley. The laughter in the bar and the noise on the avenue gradually disappeared. I thought about my words and asked the figure behind. Yes. I said goodbye to Lady Astrea. Miss Ryu stopped and turned around. For the faction war a few days ago, Mississippi Ryu, Astrea, came to say goodbye to the goddess who no longer belongs to Labyrinth City or to escort Lady Astrea to her current base. Mississippi Ryu left Orario for a while, together with the second generation of Asteria Familia. This is the final obstinacy and the end.